You have had some science fiction published in the past. Why did you move to crime fiction?
Well, I like both genres, and both genres can hold up a mirror to society. I'll just give a bit of background. When I was working in Japan, we felt an earthquake just about every day, and so sometimes I'd call up my father, who was a noted earthquake expert, and I'd ask him, when is the big one going to come? And he'd say, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be next decade, or next century. Now, as we all know, the big one came in March 2011. As far as crime fiction goes, I had always wanted to write crime fiction because I think on some level it's more credible than science fiction. Most people have been either a participant, a victim, or an observer of crime. So there's something in it for everybody. Now, it's much safer to read about crime or to watch crime movies and experience it vicariously. Much safer than to actually be a participant, a victim, or an observer. So I do feel that crime fiction does speak to the conversations of our time, and I'm very interested in it. As I said, as I am in speculative fiction, but I have a growing interest in crime fiction, and I'm continuing to write in that genre.
How did you find living in London? Was it a shock to the system?
No, not really. In the late 1990s, I lived and worked in Tokyo, so living that far away from home and for that long was not really a new experience, except to the extent that all experiences are new to some extent. Now, I taught English in both countries. In Tokyo, I taught English to fee-paying adults, and in London, I taught secondary English in inner-city schools. Now, teaching English in a massive city like London can be an interesting experience, to say the least. Now, the main protagonist in London's Falling, Michael Prescott, like me, is an English teacher. But that's where the similarity ends, because Michael gets drawn into a web of crime and corruption that he almost can't get out of. Now, one of the main influences in the book was the City of London itself. And a major part of that city is the Tube. I think that I went on just about every tube line, and some of them on a daily basis. My London was in the tourist theme park agenda of Buckingham Palace and so on, although the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh visited a school that I was working at in Essex while I was there.
David, can you tell me something about your life and your background?
Well, I was born here in Australia, in Townsville, Queensland, and I spent the early part of my life in America, where my father went to train and work as a scientist. When we returned, I finished high school and trained as an art and English teacher. After a few years of that, I started working and living overseas, and to overcome the sense of boredom and separation anxiety, I began to write fiction. And I feel this is a useful record of my time abroad as well. I'm interested in the community and many other things in addition to writing.
Why do you think people should read your book?
Well, I believe that my book speaks to the conversations of our times. I believe it holds up a mirror to society. Now, Charles Dickens did that in another age, and I believe that impression has withstood the test of time. I don't claim any clairvoyant powers, but in both Japan and the UK, I did feel this great tension rising. In Japan, as you know, it was with the earthquakes. In London, it was the great tensions that you could see in our society. Tensions between dodgy billionaires and penniless people on the dole, between a sensationalist press and a soul-serving government, between various ethnic groups and various religious groups. I believe these pressures built up to the point where we had the riots in London last year, and as we said, these tensions played out in real life with the London riots, and we can see it in the Leveson inquiry into media ethics. So I feel that London's Falling discusses these issues in a way that's entertaining and exciting. And I believe I've brought something new to the table with regards to contemporary crime fiction.
Can we expect some more crime fiction novels?
Yes, as a matter of fact, currently working on a book which is nearing completion, and this concerns the Mexican drug wars, which has been a terrible event for that country and for Central America generally. Now, in addition to writing new stuff, I'm also working on the promotion of London's Falling, which comes out in August this year. It comes out with Caffeine Nights Publishing in August, as I've said, and the first chapter can be downloaded for free, as can other stuff that I've written, including some of my speculative fiction. That can be downloaded for free on my website, David James B. Writer. So yes, you can look forward to some more work from me.
Thanks for your time, Dave.
Thank you, Hans.